Jason is here working on this. It is a Mazda, eh? Is it a Mazda or a Ford?
Ford.
It's a Ford?
It's got 4 wheels on it. I know, it's the same, isn't it?
Same to us, underneath. We didn't...
I'm confused, it's got a Mazda grill in it, there's 4 wheels on it.
Anyway, we've... the engine from the top is a 171 Crown engine. We'll look at that in a bit. And I didn't know that the 171 had a cutout on the back of the front sump. But that looks very factory to me. Too many things for me to commit to memory. This one's got the... I think they're cast, eh? It's got the cast manifolds. And they've actually kept with the front sump manifolds. Made up some brackets from both the engine and then bolted some holes on. There's your factory kind of mount. Not very pretty, eh? Not very pretty. And the gearbox. So this is suited for a Toyota gearbox, but that's a Toyota bellhousing with some welding to a Mazda or Ford 5-speed gearbox. Very loud exhaust. Twins. And drive shaft hoops that we can't extract the drive shaft out of because the wings for the hanger bearing are too wide. So we're probably going to need to pull the carpet out inside to get into them as well. So this one is getting R151 Toyota gearbox with a custom bell housing, and it's all going in back into this ute.
With the hammer and chisel.
Not the hammer and chisel, no. No, that's not a conversion tool.
This is. The shifter is forward, but I think it might sit.
Look how small it is compared to that one. Like, my thumb pokes out over the side. It doesn't over this one. Yeah. So we've got a longer bell housing. Oh, it's not that too bad on the shifter.
I think it might actually come up in the middle, because that shifter came right at the back of the...
Oh, that was right at the back?
Well, going by that picture I took.
Yeah, it looked pretty ugly.
Yeah.
So that might actually put it in a better position.
Maybe.
And we've got 2-wire Speedo. So we have to do something with Speedo. Reverse lights is easy. So that's reverses. I can make a sub loom, but we're probably going to need a box for the Speedo. Because it's 3-wire, but it's got the sensor, so we're okay there. So we've got custom flywheel.
Yeah.
With a clutch on it of some sort.
Yeah, it's going to be like a clutch, I'd say. So I think
The spline's going to be different. Notice here too, oxygen sensors had a smack. Yeah. The wiring isn't too bad, just comes out here so we can run an extra wire for that speed sensor. We're good. Look how tiny it is.
Yeah.
These broken bits.
Yeah, look at that.
No, the bearing doesn't feel yucky.
Yes.
It's going to need a clutch. Let me put the clutch off.
Or at least the clutch plate. You need a spigot bush.
You know.
Well, apparently you don't.
No.
How long does the gearbox last without a spigot bush?
That one still works.
Yeah, it still works, but it had some noises. And you suspected input bearing.
Yeah.
That would do it, eh? No spigot bush.
Yep.
Neat. And it's got a step on this flywheel. Okay, cool. That's a problem. That's a problem. Probably should ring the man.
Probably should.
Oh, I see how they fitted the header flanges in?
Yeah.
You just cut the outside. Oh,
That's a bolt.
I've already stripped that one already.
Yeah.
That's not very old either.
Nah.
So someone's been in there just recently, probably putting another box in it. Don't need a spigot bush?
Yeah.
No. That's the extras. This is the housing on this gearbox. Does it go, is that the front or the back?
Other way around.
Goes that way. So it was sitting like that. Yeah, it's like that. Which puts the shifter pretty much up there like that. And that wasn't going to work. And Jason actually said to me, what did you say, Jason? Did you say you wanted a JZX 110 shifter?
Yeah. Yeah, I want one.
Is this a JZX 110 shifter?
It looks like it, yeah.
That one, it does look like it.
Yeah, it looks like one, yeah.
Is that what you need for your car?
Yeah, that's what I need for my car, yeah.
I had one.
Thanks.
It fits the Mazda quite well.
Well, we don't have to fix the gearbox yet.
Certainly better than the other one.
Yeah.
The drift motion one that puts it right in the middle would be even better.
Yeah. Would be.
So if I put this on, is that in the right place? Stick your finger in there. Where's it go? Right in the middle, eh? So it doesn't coming out the side anymore, it comes in the middle.
Go away. Go home now.
He's a little bit upset because I just happen to have the parts that he needs and we're going to use them on this.
They might not fit yet.
No, they might not fit the gearbox. He's hoping that they don't fit the gearbox. I'm hoping that they do fit the gearbox.
I can't see because I'm hoping it fits the gearbox too. But
yeah, because it fixes this problem. It actually fits really nice, eh? Right, this shifter was pretty cool. I mean, that's a pretty cool shifter. Yeah. Hey, Jace, I think you should come look at how nicely the shifter sits. That looks like stock instead of that gonzo.
Gonzo weird looking thing.
That's awesome, mate.
Now I'm going to make it fit the gearbox.
Yeah, at
Make
least.
the gearbox fit in the hole.
Yeah. Want to have Jason's gearbox rebuilt?
No, go away.
You're still grumpy about the shifter, eh? So the gearbox is coming to bits, and well, actually no, it's going back together now, so we can tidy everything up, make it lovely. And he's still grumpy at me for the shifter. Here we have the flywheel. That is a chrome moly 10 kilo flywheel. Ring gear is part of the flywheel, and it is a lovely piece of equipment. This morning, when I wasn't looking, Jason fitted an internal release bearing. He was pretty speedy at that. And now he's having a bit of gearbox sex, slipping it in and out, in and out, in and out to do the gearbox mount. So we're just trying to work on getting this right. The engine's actually mounted on a little bit of an angle. So we're going to end up with a little bit of an angle on our gearbox mount. The idea, we get some cardboard, or a template, we throw some ideas around, try and make it strong, and make it really simple, and then he'll make a nice one. This is like the prototype. He'll make it all together. And up in here, you can see there's our shifter. I'm not sure if he's still dark on me about that shifter yet. He hasn't said anything this morning. I'm not going to say too much about that. Oh, can we see in there okay? It's getting late at night, but I thought I'd grab the footage of this before we head off and do other things. I'm going pig hunting tonight. We actually went deer stalking on the weekend. I might actually put some footage at the end of that. The deer got away, but hey, it was neat to see them. So in here, we've got release bearing, internal release bearing. Got its own little bracket tucked in the back there. And it just sits there and floats, free floats in here. We have a line coming out up to a T fitting, and these go up to the clutch master. We've resized the master cylinder suit. That's the original pivot point, clutch pivot, so that gets thrown away. And we've actually cut down the piece of the front that the bearing normally sits on, so that's been trimmed off. And it all just bolts in there, neat and tidy. There we go, clutch all bolted up, and he's lined it up with a clutch tool, lining tool, all good to go. You can see in here we have fitted the oxygen sensors, so we replaced a lot of those. Of course we did with both sides, we did a pair of those. I've done some wiring changes for the Speedo and for the reverse lights. That's how we got the drive shaft out. And the gearbox cross member is all modified, ready to go back in. So it has been another big day. Jason's been ticking along in here, and really happy with the results today. We've done the bracket for the gearbox mount, and bearing all mounted up, and hopefully we'll get a drive shaft back this week so we can put that in. And we're actually we're at a point at the moment where we're using parts faster than most of our suppliers can make them or supply them. So that is a bit tricky for us. However, we make the best of what we can do. Fingers crossed, this will be driving pretty quickly. Right, and as you can see, gearbox 6 out. It's been in, it comes out. Hopefully the next install, it stays in. And that's a really good feeling when that happens. Oh, I was doing the gearbox. Another thing I was doing the reverse switch. Because it's so close, I found another one that the plastic had broken off, and I've potted it up. I'm going to put a bit of black over it, but insulation black. That's hardened up, so I can do that tonight. And then I'm calling it a night and go and chase some pigs. I'm not sure the exhaust modification is quite going to work, and the Bluetooth fitting at the front's probably going to leak. Someone put a gearbox there. A transmission. That boot doesn't look so good.
No.
You're having trouble getting your shaft through the boot.
We've already trimmed the end of it.
You've already trimmed it. Adam's okay with sort of sorting that out himself a bit, but yeah, at least we get it in there. This box is way smaller, eh?
Yeah.
This is like there's like no tunnel left.
No.
So the shifter's looking pretty good. It does sit back a little bit further. Hopefully. Have you tried just sort of sitting this on with the shifter in the hole? I've got another shifter too, eh? I've got another one of those shifters. Oh, yeah. Not the housing, but the actual stick. I've got another stick. So if we get a housing, and I may have found a housing for you. Working on it. Do you want to lube it again? Because last time you had trouble getting it back out again. I hate it when it gets... Oh, you've lubed it already?
Yeah.
You having trouble with your shaft today?
Right. Fuck off. I can't give a straight face. I was trying to ignore that, but...
You know I can't be ignored.
I know.
There's kind of a form in the glove box, but the best thing about wiring like this, when it's in a glove box, I know how to fix it. That's the fastest wiring fix I've ever done.
Do you want to lock it so now I can get in there?
Lock it as well. You know that was the wrong way, eh?
It works though, doesn't it?
Yep. And well done bleeding the release bearing before you put it in. That's a really good trick that people have struggled bleeding release bearings, but it's like really easy.
Oh, I've done one or two of them by time, eh?
Hey, it's the same one you got in your car.
That's not. I've got two of them like that now.
Oh, but you had one like that.
Yeah. And I never used to bleed it, I just put it in the hole and just...
It just worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't talk about JZs. because this is a V8 workshop. Okay, we don't say 2J all day, none of that.
2J all day. I need to bring that down actually, just bring some class in here.
Whatever. But that's looking pretty good, eh? That looks very positive.
Alright, there we go.
Well, there you go. Works now.
It works now. And that pistol thing clears.
That's awesome.
Oh. We only get 1 gear change. It's popped out.
I would have showed the bleeding of the hydraulic bearing, but Jason's too fast and I was doing other stuff. But basically, you just fill up the bearing to begin with, and then when you put it in the vehicle, it dribbles the fluid out because it gets compressed, but you just put it all together and it works. We did one the other day, just the same. We just don't stress about it. So having the right techniques makes things a lot easier. And I see guys struggling with hydraulic bearings, internal release bearings, and I just shake my head because they really aren't difficult to work with when you do them properly. I thought it had gaskets. That definitely is not a gasket. That's definitely just the full size of sealant. Receiver groove, exhaust gaskets.
Didn't leak.
Well, that bit didn't leak. That bit might have. Oh, fine gaskets. Well, at least they put a fuse in for the alternator. That's probably good for 60 or 70 amps.
Is that for when the wire catches fire, the fuse blows?
Yeah. But this has happened so often.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that wire.
What?
There we go.
Okay, so what do we got going out of that? Oh, it's tiny as well.
And that goes somewhere.
Well, the battery's back in the vehicle somewhere.
There's a big battery cable that comes up the back, up the front here somewhere.
So we've got 150 amp fuse to protect wire that will only flow 70 odd amps.
On a good day.
So what happens here, of course, is it gets a flat battery and then it catches fire. It gets hot. It's fine while the battery's charged. Like something like this, it'll work absolutely perfectly fine until it gets a flat battery. And then it'll melt things. Okay, cool. Well, let's...
Oh, and the alternator plugs fucked.
Oh, the alternator plug?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got new ones of those.
Is that with the green going? Is that with the green going on it inside the plug?
Oh, no, that's silicon. That's grease, but it's falling apart. It's broken.
Yeah.
So you can put a new plug on there. And then let's run new wire up to the fuse at least. And then I better talk to Adam before we do anything with that. But at least this bit will be done. And I've actually got a big fuse, so that's some good things. Where is that alternator?
Both in the wheelbarrow.
In my wheelbarrow. So here's another one where someone's put a new alternator on it with a bad plug, bad wiring, with a leaking power steer pump, and it's buggered. That's just fantastic.
That's where this and the big cable joins with everything else.
So this is only alternator, and then it's got a big one coming up. So where does the cable go to the starter motor? Is that coming around the back somewhere as well? Because normally it's fucking blue. Can't be Bluetooth. Here's that.
Yeah.
No, that's the bleeder. So we need to build a bracket for that. Get out of the way.
No, it was actually going to come over this side, but it didn't end up coming over here.
So what have I got? I've got earths here.
Those are those S that are broken.
But I've actually got an earth. Oh no, that's oxygen sensor. Because they couldn't put it on the back. At least they put it well forward so I can get my hand down here. I probably would have moved it back another.
I don't know, you could have because heater hoses are just here.
That's a pain when heater hoses are there. Yeah, okay, so that's run up to the body. So we need to move them. And just, okay, unwrap that. And if we put a big insulated stud or something up there. So we can join it nicely.
Cool. Just change the alternator.
Yeah.
Other horrors is this game.
Oh, so that's one of those is.
One of those has got to be the starter.
One of those got to be starter. One of those has got to be from the battery.
Yep.
Okay, have a little unwrap in there. We might be able to sort it pretty easily. Oh. So this is the bottom hose on the radiator. The top one is the miniature version with no lip. We better put that on. We better put that on the list.
No.
Do you want a razor blade?
Yeah, that might be.
Want a suicide kit?
Yep.
Yep, I reckon there's a big bolt in there too. I'm not sure about this fuel pump under the bonnet. I really don't like fuel pumps. There we go. Awesome. Love that cut off fuse too. Has that actually powered up that fuse?
No,
It's got no fuse in it, but it's just left in there. So we got another join off to something there.
Just down for the
Fans. Wicked, look at that. How many wires we got joined in there?
All of them. These are put crimp terminals on them.
Yep. It wasn't just bare wires. Okay.
Yeah, that's a problem, eh?
Well, because normally I'd run that up to the fuse.
Might run that to there.
Yeah, I'd use the fuse as the joiner.
Yeah, well, that might well.
That's going to be part of his, could be part of the funny voltage problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get a.
Might want to see them photos.
Oh, he sent photos. I was going to say it could catch fire. I think it's already had a little bit of a try.
Oh, that one's done the same.
Oh dear.
I think they could have used the smallest crimp terminal.
Oh dear.
I haven't opened these ones up yet. I haven't got that far.
That is cool, isn't it? Okay. Let's hope those two are good. And then we can hopefully get enough out of that and crimp some new ones on it. And wait, fans? We thinking that's fans?
Yeah, it goes down there. Yeah, I think it is fans because it goes down, I think it goes down to this plug here. This switch.
If these ones go in the cabin, should they be fused? Should we put a main fuse in for that? Just as a safety?
They're the main ones, but what do they do? Where does that go?
That's been added for something. There's still a lot of wires there, but at least the bits that you've done look good. Much nicer. Much nicer. And there's no burnt bits. You removed the burnt bits. You didn't want the charcoal wiring.
No, I didn't.
Barbecue wiring. Oh, braai. Yeah, South African for barbecue. While it's a little bit dark in here, given the alternator wiring a bit of an upgrade, good size. We've just put a plug in here and put an insulated stud down there. So that's a little bit neater than just how it was, all taped together and bolted together. So that's a lot neater than it was before. Still could do with a big sword out through there, but certainly a good step forward, and hopefully it's not going to catch fire. Look at the shifter placement. That is looking good. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So it's a little quiet here this morning. Jason is off picking up a few parts for this job and others, and I did the midnight finish on a wiring loom. But I thought I'd take a few moments just to talk about adapting the gearboxes to the engines. So when I did my first one back in 2005, and we did 2 that year, the option was adapter plates, and we'd get a steel adapter plate or sandwich plate between the gearbox and the bell housing. We'd cut it, use the factory Lexus bell housing, and then cut holes for clutches, for clutch forks and stuff. And we've been doing this a long time, and not long after that, we found a supplier that made complete bell housings. And we haven't looked back. I don't like using adapter plates. This is an easy, fast way to do it. For me, when a customer brings a vehicle in, they want a professional job, and it takes me some time to set up the adapter plate, get everything right. So it's far quicker to bolt in a full bell housing on it. And then in cases like this particular vehicle here, where there wasn't physically room when we put a big box on it to put the slave cylinder in, we use our internal release bearing. And I pretty much do that on all conversions. It's just a standard setup that I do. It gives a beautiful clutch feel, it's reliable, and it works really well. So these bell housings, we have them in W and G. I'm not a fan of the W and G boxes behind Lexus. We have them in the R154, which is this one, and then R150, which is just a little bit shorter. For the release bearing, we showed it going in. This little bit here. So this actually gets snipped off. Looks like this. On goes our release bearing. It's held in place. It just sort of floats there, but it stops from rotating on one of the bolts. Sits all together. Job's done. So the release bearing that I use is self-adjusting across the life of a clutch and is spaced to suit the clutch that I sell. I tried to do a bit of a deal with the suppliers, and they weren't interested in selling these units around the world. I don't think they understand the potential for sales even working through the normal distribution networks. And it's a pain because it's a heavy clutch for me to send around the world. So it's pretty much, at this point, it's too much work to try and do that, and it just doesn't make it viable. Which is a real pity, because I think they've got potential to be used in a lot of places and are really awesome. The flywheel, 10 kilos, chrome molly, integrated ring gear. Good setup. So if you are in New Zealand, I'll gladly supply a clutch. If you're overseas, unfortunately at this point in time, it's not something we can do. Bell housings, however, we can do them. We can send them, they're relatively light, we can get them away. And of course, using bell housings gets us away from doing cut and welds like this. Though on the oddball ones, that is a bit of an option, but I certainly prefer, if we can, to do that. Right, hopefully Jason will be back with some parts, and hopefully they fit. And put them in. And really the last job after that is going to be Speedo. This one runs a 2-wire sensor, and that one gives a different signal to the Toyota gearbox we fitted. Done the wiring to the box, so there'll be wiring up and behind the dash. Right, I've got some wiring to do. I hope that was somewhat helpful explaining bell housings and the ones that we have. I also actually do a Chev LS1 or small block Chev to R series, so R151, R150, R154. But that's coming up for another job, so we'll show you that one then. How's your shaft looking?
Good. Big and black.
Bonus.
Long.
Of course, he's referring to as the drive shaft. And it's got the Toyota front and the Mazda back. The Mazda's a little bit smaller. And I think we're just about sorted. There's your bow housing. You want me to get under there? So it's almost?
Almost.
Just needs a little tweak. Yeah, I gave it max free play, so I can take a little bit out. We got Speedo. That's awesome. What? Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, but at least it goes. So I just have to modify the signal. So it's good. Chip in, yes. There it goes. It's good. AEIS works. It's running. By default, we've got a Speedo. It's not right, but it's a Speedo. And it's time for Jason took it for a test drive. No, actually, we'll have lunch. I'm hungry. It feels quite nice. Like as far as just drive feel, like a normal Ute. But it's a bit loud.
And bouncy when you hit it.
Bouncy. Bit doughy in the bum. When it smacks the bump stops. So we have a Speedo. Speedo is 50% out.
We're not doing 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We're doing 67.
Yeah, they're not ideal. But it works. Yeah, the Speedo works. That's the tinny. Shifter, really happy with that. Clutch has got quite a nice feel to it.
Needs a little bit, come off the bottom a little bit more.
I told you, should I bring a spanner?
Oh, just do it some more, okay?
I might stop down there. We'll get a spanner from the boys down here. That is torquey, eh? It's nice.
Just leaking.
Kind of feels like it might be on this one. Like the wiring has got the right form, so it looks like it's been, like the idea is there.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been executed very nice. But no, like everything around it's actually been executed. Has been the right idea is there.
Yeah.
It's just the execution of a lot of it hasn't been that nice. I like it's a really it's a sweetheart. It's nice.
What's that bouncy it'd be?
Yeah, sort of some suspension, absolutely. Saw that the back end. I think it's just coming down on the bump stops and stopping, just bam.
So, yeah.
It's game over. We don't want to see him.
He's down there when we were
That's quite handy having the phone app, eh?
Yep. Should have grabbed my Speedo out of the Ute.
can't shoot because that boy's in front of me. This shooting sucks today. Come on, Ben. They're a long way. Where'd he go? They're up in the air. Just disappearing, their asses were just disappearing through there.